Thank you. I don't see mine here. Okay, so I already introduced myself. I'll say that working at the university, I wear a lot of different hats. I do some field research. I do have an extension aspect to my job, so I'll sometimes get out in the field with some farmers. Most of my research to date is in production, focused mostly on fiber production and also on value chains, hemp fiber value chains. So that's something that I've really been looking a lot into. And anyway, we can have a longer conversation about that in the future, but just that's sort of where I've been doing a lot of networking and making connections between folks and trying to help fill in that gap there in the value, those gaps in the value chain. David Dewitt is with us tonight. And David, if you want to just say hello and talk just for a minute about what you do. And sorry to interrupt, but before you do that, I just wanted to say for the speakers that we have lined up, since we have so many people talking, everyone's going to have 2 minutes to provide some information about what they're doing, and I am going to be timing because and I don't want to be rude, but we do have to kind of stay on schedule. So I'm just going to kind of maybe interrupt you if you're running over. I know some of you, and once you get rolling, I know how it goes. So
enthusiastic.
Yeah. So go ahead, David.
Well, did you use up some of my 2 minutes? Because I got a lot prepared.
No, I get extra.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. As Kelly said, David Dewitt. I work with Extension. I'm an agronomy agent. Tobacco farmer by trade was most of my life, so that's kind of how I got into the hemp world. And I'm just here to try to help farmers as they try to grow the crop. Anything you need, field work type help, ideas. It's amazing we still have people that think that you just throw a seed out there and hemp doesn't need fertilizer or insect control or weed control or anything. And that was a myth that I hope we had busted years ago, but it's still, with all the new farmers, we continue to get into this. It needs to be managed like an agronomic crop, and that's what it is. And if you want returns, you need to treat it as such. So those are some of the things I've told numerous people before. One of my saddest situations I've had dealing with hemp farmers since we started the program in 18 is getting the call in late August when they got a 2-foot tall plant that's already flowering, wondering why, and they hadn't put any fertilizer or anything on the plant since they set it out, and that's too late. So you use us, Clemson Extension. We have offices in every county. Most of them, if you go to your office, they're going to get you back to me. So you can just start with me if you want, but I'm easy to find. If you go to our industrial hemp webpage, the contact information on there comes straight to Kelly and I. So just start that way if you can't find me another way. We'll hope that everybody's well on the way to preparing and getting ready to go to the field. And we'll hope everybody's got a good year, and we'll be around to answer questions and use us, call on us, and we'll do the best we can to help you or find somebody that can. All right, Kelly, I did less than 2 minutes.
All right, thanks, David. Okay, so Will, with the South Carolina Department of Agriculture, I have you next up. Are you with us, Will?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, great. Well, your time starts now.
All right. Well, I'm Will on behalf of South Carolina Department of Agriculture, the hemp farming program. We're the regulatory body for hemp in the state of South Carolina. We're charged with administering the state plan, making sure everyone stays in compliance with our state plan, and in charge of the official sampling and all of that.
Will, could you get a little closer to your microphone?
Yes, sir. Is that better?
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So anything as far as reporting forms for the state of South Carolina will come through us. I'm the program coordinator, and I have two inspectors that work underneath me right now. We're working on hiring a third one. So we'll be fully staffed, and each zone, the upstate, mid, PD and low country all have a inspector that our farmers can have contact with. That's it.
Okay,
That's the gist of
awesome.
it. We're regulatory.
Great. Thank you, Will. Oops. Appreciate that. And just a reminder that we will be sending out everybody's contact information after the fact. So if you missed something, you can either ask after the presentations are done, or you'll get it in an email. So up next, Chaz Williams with the Hemp District and the South Carolina Hemp Association. Chaz, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. How's everybody doing tonight? So just briefly on what we do with the Hemp District, pretty much what we do, we're working on a supply store in Greenville, South Carolina, where we just want to be the amplifier for all things hemp. We're working with companies that do building materials, flooring, things like that. So we can bring everything under one roof, so that we can bring everybody into one building, sort of act like an education center too, at the same time, be able to host, workshops and things like that, to talk a little bit more about hempcrete and industrial hemp and things like that. So we can educate people better on the many uses of industrial hemp. And as well, with the South Carolina Hemp Association, I'm the executive director. What we try to do is just provide education to anybody in the state that's looking for it. I've been the executive director for coming up on 3 months, so I'm still new in the position, but I work closely with Kellyanne, and I work closely with a lot of other people in the state to be able to bring education to new farmers, people that are looking to, get into hemp and things like that. We try to provide that education for everybody. And we're just here to help. So anything that anybody needs with hemp, Kellyanne will have my contact information. I'll be glad to try to, plug you into anything, any information that we know. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks, Chaz. That's great. And then is there a website for the South Carolina Hemp Association?
Yes, it's the schempassociation.org. And if you can't reach anybody there, you can do williamschaz@gmail.com, but you have my information, and that's directly straight to me. So either one. And we're redoing the website and stuff like that. So all updated contact information will be on there within the next month.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next on our list is Vanessa Elsala with the South Carolina Women's Cannabis Association.
Hello, nice to see everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I miss working with all of you, and welcome to all the new farmers that joined this year. I'm just gonna briefly talk about our group. We are the South Carolina Women's Cannabis Association. We're taking new members. We will have another meeting in July. I could send out an invite. Just send me your information. Kelly will provide you my email address, and I could add you to the invite list and the roster. And pretty much it's everybody: growers, transporters, consultants, retail products, regulation talk. It's just a support group. This doesn't necessarily mean that we can't collaborate with other groups that aren't women, but it's just a safe place for all women to go and talk about the troubles or the achievements that they're having within the group. So we're welcoming everybody. Just give me a shout out and we can start collaborating. Quick note, I will be out of town for about 10 days, the 8th through the 18th. So if you email me, don't worry, I will answer your email and get you on that invite list and send an invite for you for July 16th is what we have on the calendar right now. So write that down if you're interested in coming. And that was pretty much it. Did I miss anything from the other members of the group? We did.
I think
Okay.
you're working mostly through your Facebook page, correct now, right? Is that correct?
It's yeah, so you can directly send me an email at my Yahoo. That's the one I gave you earlier, Kelly, but there's also a Facebook, that South Carolina Women's Cannabis Association, and you could send messages through there and I can get your information, and I'm on there every single day answering questions. So
Great. Thank you, Vanessa.
thank you.
Okay, so we had a couple of people who only had some limited time tonight. So let me go ahead and ask if Cameron Bearden of Gel Laboratories, are you on with us?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hey, Cameron. This is Cameron Bearden of Gel Laboratories in Charleston.
Yeah, so I work for Gel Laboratories. We're in Charleston. We test for cannabinoids and plant and other matrices such as edibles, various products. We offer a standard 3-day turn around time. We are certified with the SCDA, also ISO certified, and we just got our DEA registration as well. We require 1 gram of sample is typically what we need. Most of the samples we receive are collected by the state and come in here. So we report results to the farmer as well as SCDA simultaneously. You get an electronic certificate of analysis after 3 days. Test, it costs $70. And like I said, it's usually on a 3-day turnaround time. So yeah, I think those are the main highlights that I wanted to cover. But yeah, we've been doing it since the program started, and know quite a few of the farmers in the area, as well as some of you guys, and happy to help out however we can.
Great. Thank you, Cameron. And what was my question to you? Actually, Will, this is going to be directed to you for after the after the other speakers. I think there's some changes coming up with how testing is going to work in the state. So maybe we could revisit that afterwards. I could be wrong, but thank you, Cameron, for providing that information. And Cameron's contact information will be in that resource list as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, with some limited time tonight is Tyler Cox, representing Biofill Natural Fibers. Tyler, are you on with us? I'm not seeing you yet, so we need to, maybe you need to unmute.
Saw him log in.
Let me see if I can find him in the list. Trying to unmute. Let's see here. Let me
Oh, gotcha.
oh, there
You
he
there?
is. Yep. There he is.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay.
Thank you. Pleasure speaking with y'all this evening. This is Tyler with Biofill Natural Fibers. We are a hemp processing corporation based out of Lumberton, North Carolina. For your reference, Lumberton is on the eastern side of North Carolina, just across the South Carolina, North Carolina border. Over the past 3 to 4 years, we've been doing a lot of R&D work, looking at different varieties of hemp, growing them in different regions, kind of across the Southeast and some other areas. We are now moving into a full processing line that will be active and up and running in August of this year. We are in contact with end users to sell these fibers and herd for an end use consumer. Our biggest thing that we're looking for as a group is to just partner with farmers. We want to build quality relationships with farmers and see how we can help them with their efforts in planting and harvesting hemp. And educate them on anything we may know and kind of share that information as a collaborative effort of back and forth. We do offer guaranteed contracts for our farmers and work with them very closely through the growing process to help them with any questions with fertilization techniques and different methods and of all the sorts. So we would love to connect with more farmers. We're definitely trying to build an aggregate volume of farmers so we can continue our processing forecast. So if you have any interest, please feel free to reach out. Be glad to talk more and discuss how we can work together to process hemp for fiber and herd.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you jumping on tonight.
No problem. Pleasure meeting all y'all.
Okay, so Dr. Florence Anuro from South Carolina State University. Are you on with us? Dr. Florence?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
Hello, everyone. I think I know almost everyone here, except maybe, hi, Jess, maybe one or two people. So I'm going to be preaching to the choir, but it's okay. So what I'm going to really talk about, since who we have here are mostly people who have knowledge about hemp, but to let all of you know where we come in as a university. And I am the Industrial Hemp Research Project Director for South Carolina State University 1890 Research and Extension Program. It's a mouthful. I'm a plant scientist and environmentalist by profession, but our work with industrial hemp comes from three prongs. We do research, we do outreach, and of course education. And by default, the 1890 SC State 1890 Research and Extension Program, we serve the people throughout the state. We have about 16 or 17 regional offices and primarily underserved farmers. And so we come in with educating them, and especially with industrial hemp. And so we help with licensing, helping them navigate the ropes. Will has been very instrumental with helping also spread that information to our farmers. But we're also, with our students being historically Black, college from a Black college, we do a lot of education and research with our students to broaden participation in agricultural field. And so we are reaching out to farmers by doing research on multiple varieties, indoor and outdoor, a lot of resources through grants and collaboration with institutions. And of course, our partners here, we have Brightmouth Farm and a lot of the other people here. Hemp Grid is one of our big partners. So we have all these resources, and we reach out to farmers to help them start their journey into the hemp space, and in any way we can help, and also helping them locate resources from the federal, state, and private sources. So one of the areas that I'm really passionate, I have always been passionate about, basically for hemp, is cover cropping. So we're doing a lot of work on cover cropping and helping farmers navigate their way through incorporating cover cropping as a regenerative agricultural practice. And
Florence,
last,
yes. Sorry, I need to interrupt you. We're almost at 3 minutes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. So my information, she will share my information with you if anybody have any questions.
Will do.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, Harold Singletary, Brightmouth Farms. I understand that you have a little bit of limited time tonight too. So could you please share with us how you're helping the farming community?
Awesome. Kelly, it's good to see you. I wish it was in person. This is awesome, a collective. I probably can waste my 2 minutes giving a roll call of all the people I know on this call, but love to you all. It is growth season. Let's get it in. Brightmouth Farms, vertically integrated, minority hemp group. We've been at this since 2018. We're a licensed nursery. We work closely with the universities within our state, South Carolina State. This is our second year in the industrial trial. Good to see you, Dr. Noro. CUI call on Clemson. Brightmouth's been doing a forward R&D project with hemp fibers, okay, the last 2 years. As Tyler has mentioned, we do the same. We work with Fortune 500s. In our state alone, we got BMW, Volvo Manufacturing, Mercedes-Benz. They're all using hemp fibers, guys, not South Carolina hemp. Bright Miles out front, champion a change in narrative there. We broke ground on 85 acres last month. We're building out the Bright Mile Innovation Center, the first industrial hemp processing site that will be in South Carolina. We also do AI, machine learning, breeding. It starts with your genetics, farmers. From seed to harvest, you have to understand that protocol. South Carolina State 1890 is there to help you. Kelly Flynn and David Dewitt. I know these guys, they're definitely on your side. Vanessa, she's transitioned, but she's on your side. Let's get it together. Understand that my information will be shared, and I can share the press information to show you how South Carolina will champion manufacturing utilizing hemp for paper, biofuel, and advanced material composites. And that's just, not just automotive. So opportunity exists. Don't fly to the low-hanging fruit with CBD. Understand grain and fiber potential, which Kelly can also help you with. From textile to biofuel, we're going to make it work. Bright Miles out front. We love to network with you. My information will be shared. I think that's my two. Thank you, Kelly. And this is an awesome opportunity for you guys to plug in and get with the leaders in.
Thank you, Harold. On the nose. Appreciate it. Okay. How about Joe Renwick? Joe, are you with us? David, I don't know if you noticed. Let's see. Joe, I don't know if you're trying to unmute. Let's see here.
I don't see him unless he's under another name or a phone.
Okay, well, let's come back to him. Maybe he's running a little late. Shakina Haywood.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Shakina.
Hi, I'm here to represent my trucking company, KC Trucking LLC. I offer services for hauling hemp and farm equipment, supplies, and pretty much anything that the hemp farmers need moved. So reach out to me. And I'm also here. I represent Natural Harvest Farms. We have a 63-acre farm in Jenkinsville, South Carolina, where we are in the process of placing greenhouses and looking into a processing facility as well.
Great. Thank you, Shakina.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Allison Justice, are you on with us? Allison? All right, we'll come back to Allison. How about, since we're talking about transportation, why don't we get Chris Greer to jump in here?
How you doing, everyone? Good evening. My name is Chris Greer, owner and operator of Best Hands Transportation, where we believe the best hands are the safest hands. We're here to service all your hemp needs and transportation-wise. Not just hemp, but that's one thing I've noticed. I ran across a lot of people. Only thing we focus on hemp is all of the farm needs, you know, whether that's fertilizer, soil, anything you need transported from point A to point B. We're here to help. I've been at this for about 2 years now. We've done a lot of local jobs, but one of the jobs I would like to highlight, we've gone to Tampa, Florida, dropping off some CBD drink mix. And we've also gone to Tennessee, picking up soil. So no job is too small. We're located in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And check us out at www.thebesthands.com. And I'm sure Kelly will pass along any information. And we're here to help anybody that needs our services.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Joe Renwick and Allison Justice, if you're on the call, just check in with me in the chat, and I'll get you back in the lineup. How about Adrian Truluck. Are you with us this evening?
Yes, there. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Adrian.
Hi. Again, I'm Truluck with Arrowhead Company. Kelly, David for on. Kind of different, not being able to shake everybody's hand, but we're thankful to see some fellow farmers. Again, Arrowhead Seed Company, we are proud farmers. And we were part of the pilot program in 2018 and the first to produce, market, and sell feminized hemp. Are so proud now to be able to say that we are certified organic as well. We feel like this gives us, as well as the farmers who grow our genetics, kind of an upper hand in the industry. We proudly serve farmers all over the U.S., Canada, Peru, and I've really enjoyed getting to know all of the farmers on a firsthand basis. In 2018, we saw a void in the genetics market in our area and climate, especially after Hurricane Florence. And we kind of went to the drawing board with the genetics that we were trialing and developed our trademark Hurricane Hemp Florence, along with our flagship cultivars, Box Wine, Box Hybrid, and Arrowhead Abacus. And these have kind of been staples in the area. I'll just briefly discuss kind of the high points of our genetics. We have extensive data on all of our genetics. We do genotype profiling and work very closely with Dr. Ward at Clemson, who does and continues to do trials and progressive studies on our genetics. We work closely with the University of Illinois, as well as Louisiana, and some folks out west as well. And we collect data from all of these, along with our own data, to kind of keep see which cultivars perform well in each latitude. So I'm happy to schedule phone calls with any of you to share, any of this data, along with our COAs, our germination information. I don't know if I have time to kind of go in briefly on the cultivars, but
actually we're at we're past 2 minutes.
Okay.
But I think everyone's got a good idea of what y'all provide, and I'm gonna get your contact information out with the resource list.
That sounds great. And you can see more on our catalog section on the website, arrowhead.com.
Great. Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
Okay. How about I heard from Troy Gilreth or Mo. I'm not sure who's going to speak up for High Grade Company, but if either of you are on, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hey, can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Hey, I'm Troy Gilroy with High Grade Company. My partner Mohammed is not here today. He's running late from a doctor's appointment, but we're based in Anderson, South Carolina. We've been growing starter plants of all varieties for many, many years. We've sold thousands and thousands. We help farmers, new farmers, existing farmers, repeat farmers. We help them decide on the plants they need, the quantities they would like to grow. We have an on-farm initial meeting where we come out, look at your area where you'd like to grow. If it's a greenhouse or a field, we'll help you pick the area to, we'll give you our 2 cents worth anyway. Some farmers, new farmers, like to really bump up their quantities, and we try to stress that, everything that you plant, you're going to have to finish up with. So it's good. Sometimes a first-time farmer should start a little smaller in quantities, but we try to help with that. Irrigation placement. We talk about drying and curing when we're there at the initial meeting. Storing, at the store, your end product, what kind of plants you're looking for, whether it's oil, flower, fiber, or other. We just try to give a sensible approach to someone who is a new farmer or repeat, and we try to help them decide, and we communicate with them. We do have on-farm visits during the growth period. We do sell seedlings year round. Our primary business is to sell seedlings and transplants. We have very good quality plants. We have a large variety, and we just try to help who we can and how we can, and try to make things a little bit simpler on the plant starters as far as transplants at the beginning of the growth season. We're here to help in any way we can. We're based in Anderson. We travel across the state.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I did hear from Allison. She's going to be jumping on in a minute. Joe Renwick with Resoil, have you joined us? If not, let's jump ahead to was that Allison jumping on? Okay, that is the end. Oh, I'm sorry. I still have Calvin Johnson or Rodney Keller to speak on behalf of Natural Harvest.
Kelly,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Rodney is under the weather and Calvin couldn't make it. He's in an out-of-town meeting. So I had spoke for them for Natural Harvest Farms. And that is the 63-acre farm in Jenkinsville, South Carolina.
Okay.
That I received the representation for. Aside from my trucking company. So
yes.
I'm kind of here twice.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Shakina. And I do have their information here on this resource list that everyone will receive. So we are at the end of the scheduled speakers portion. Now, I realize that there are some people who may have joined us that did not get to RSVP as a speaker. So if at this point, if there's anyone in here who would like to, who is a resource provider and would like to take a couple minutes also to talk about, what services you're providing to the hemp farming community in the state, go ahead and raise your hand or speak up. I know the raise hand function is a little hard to locate sometimes. So if you can't find it, just unmute and say something and we'll make that happen. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Oh, here we go. Kurt. All right, Kurt Brower. What have you got for us?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Everybody on the meeting. It's nice to see everybody on here, and that there's still a lot of hemp farmers despite the poor market conditions for a lot of things. But our company is called Carolina Botanical Development. We're located in Anderson, pretty much. And I saw a couple familiar faces on here. But we do primarily extraction, but all through processing. So we basically help farmers. We have a lot of farmers who are not doing fiber, don't have the genetics for fiber, or just are not generally large enough to do fiber, that want to start their own CBD brands or nutraceutical brands. So pretty much we extract, we refine all the oil, and then we turn it into finished products such as gummies, tinctures, creams, salves. But we help farmers identify and locate good sources for genetics. We're certified organic through Clemson, actually. So we do help some people either retain or obtain their organic certification as well. So really any kind of questions that any of the farmers have or that anybody has in general, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help in really any way that we possibly can.
Thank you, Kurt. And if you don't mind, if you're able to, looks like you might be out in a boat or something.
I'm just sitting by the fire.
Okay. If you're able to put your contact information in the chat, I'll translate that into the resource list as well, or just shoot me an email if that's not possible.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you,
Yep.
everyone.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else want to speak up before we open up to questions?
Allison's jumping on right now.
Oh, okay. All right, let's give Allison a second to connect, and we'll just throw her right into the fire. Hey, Allison, you are our last presenter. We're giving everyone just a couple minutes to talk about what resources they provide to the hemp farming community in the state.
Okay, hello. You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Sorry about that. I had a little farm truck disaster, but I'm glad I made the tail end at least. I am the owner and CEO of the Hemp Mine, and we are a hemp business. We've been working since the first year hemp was allowed in South Carolina. By training, I'm a plant scientist. I went to Clemson University and got my PhD there. Afterwards, went out to California and worked in the medical industry, the medical marijuana industry for about 3.5 years, and then bounced back to South Carolina to do hemp with my family. It's a family farm. But yeah, we breed, we sell genetics. One of the cool things we do that we love inviting all the farmers out to see is every fall, usually second week in September, we have a field day. And so we bring out farmers to see all of our varieties that we're growing in the field. We've got lots and lots, dozens, I would say. We also do a lot of contract research. And so we have things going on looking at everything from disease resistance of different biological fungicides, pesticides, and that sort of thing. So we usually got a lot of cool things to see and learn, and invite guest speakers out. So it's a nice day of learning, but I guess that's the Hemp Mine in a bundle. A lot of research and plant genetic focus.
Thanks, Allison. And do you want to just talk for a second about the cannabis? Is it the coalition?
Yeah, the Cannabis Research Coalition. So that is a group we've put together. Basically, the funding of many go to support, what might not be able to be done as just one company. So farmers will pitch in for research that is conducted at Clemson University with Dr. Jim Faust, along with certain projects being done at the Hemp Mine, because we're able to do it in a much bigger fashion, whereas they're able to do a lot more controlled experimentation. And so in this coalition, we do industry specific work, and not just necessarily science that only other scientists like to hear and read about, very practical, commercially focused research. So, we'd love to have you out. We've got a website we've just launched. It's, let's see. We had a hard time picking a name. It was it's cannabisrc.org, and that'll tell you a little bit more about the coalition and what we do there. We have monthly webinars where we talk about different research that we're doing, go over different SOPs during those webinars, and then once a year we get together to talk about all of the experiments throughout the year in very nitty-gritty form. So check out the website there, and there's a lot more detail.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Okay, so last call for anyone else who is a resource provider who has some service that they can, provide to the hemp farming community in the state. And since it does look like there's anyone else who wants to speak up at the moment, we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. So if you have a question for anybody who had something to say tonight, please unmute and go ahead and ask. We are all friends here. Or alternately, if you'd like to put your question in the chat box, I'm happy to read it out, and we could do it that way.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Jeffrey Johnson with 864 Buds. And we're a small farm up in Spartanburg, Lyman, South Carolina. Right now we're going CBD, but we'll actually have a lot more room and land to expand, and we're looking to get into maybe the hemp creek market or the industrial hemp market, and see if that'll be something that we can get some contracts to do. And the gentleman that spoke earlier about securing contracts for Hemp Creek, how do we get his information and how can we work with them?
I think we talked to two different folks in the state who are working with industrial hemp processing. The gentleman who mentioned the contracts was Tyler Cox of Biofill Natural Fibers. And you will receive a follow-up email after this event. And also a copy of the recording of this event so you can listen again, where that his contact information will be included, and also Harold Singletary is involved in hemp fiber processing, so you can follow up with him as well.
Okay, thank you. So that information will be in the follow-up email, right?
Yes, and for anyone who doesn't hear from me by the end of tomorrow with all that contact information, there could possibly have been, an issue with email exchanges. So do reach out to me and make sure that you get that resource list for me, because I will send it before the weekend.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Who else? Who's got a question?
Kelly, there was one in the chat box earlier about resources for organic fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
Schedule or using just compost tea. And I know if anybody is an expert on organic fertilizers, I'd love to hear it too, because that's a question I get a lot and I don't have a good answer for it. So I open it up to all the experts here. Give us some ideas on organic fertilizer options and schedules.
Can I? I'm not sure if the person, this is Florence Honoro. I'm not sure if the person is still listening, but is that clarification? Do they want to know what types of organic fertilizers or places to get organic fertilizer? Because those are two separate things.
This was the question was about an organic fertilizer schedule. So it sounds like more of an application. Okay. About application, and then possibly even the use of compost tea.
Right. Well, I can take a stab at that. But given the hemp cultivation schedule, most organic fertilizer applications are done before you plant, but you have to know what your soil nutrient status is, because you don't want to, with organic fertilizers, especially the manure or some type of compost, you have to make sure what the macro and the micronutrients are in it, so you're not over fertilizing or under fertilizing. With the compost tea, you also have to make sure that you're getting it from what's in the compost tea, again looking at the macro and micronutrients, because the industrial hemp, as they're growing, their nutrient requirements change as they go from vegetative stage to flowering stage. And so knowing what those things are, and then your application rate and timing then can be choreographed to rhyme with those with your CBD, and I'm assuming you're talking about the CBD varieties for that question. And I hope that helped.
Okay, thank you, Florence. And Adrian, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you did mention that your farm was just recently certified organic. So I don't know if you might possibly be a resource, via email through that, or if you have anything to add at the moment.
Yes, I'd be happy to, send over any of our input lists and our schedules, anything like that. If, whoever wants to give me a call or an email, and I'm happy to share any of that.
Great. And that's Adrian at Arrowhead Farms.
A Truluck
Arrowhead.
at arrowheadseed.com.
Arrowhead Seed. Yeah, sorry about that. And I'll add, as far as, organic production systems go, when you're thinking about organic production systems, thinking a little bit more broadly about a holistic approach where you're not just thinking about a conventional system and replacing everything you would do in a conventional system with other chemical inputs in a conventional system with organic chemicals, but thinking more broadly about how do we maintain nutrients in the soil, care for the soil using cover cropping in the off season, minimizing tillage to reduce the loss of carbon and other nutrients into the atmosphere, and also intercropping. So organic production systems or compost applications, that's the type of things that in an organic production system you're thinking about, not depleting the soil and increasing soil nutrient availability, and by your cultural practices in addition to any amendments you might be putting onto the farm. So there's a little bit, a little bit more broad thinking required there if you don't, because organic fertilizers are expensive. All fertilizers are expensive at the moment, but one of the real benefits of regenerative farming or organic production now is that by utilizing that multifaceted approach where you're cover cropping, you're reducing your tillage, you are, working on, several or rotating your crops, and then also maybe getting a couple of different crops off of one field in a single year. Those types of approaches can actually reduce your costs of production over conventional production. So it's pretty exciting.
Kellyanne, I can add to this too.
Okay.
If I could just real quick, just to add something out there, it's not a fertilizer, but it is an application because we do work with it. We work with a company, Biochar, that'll do a lot of the things that you just were saying about holding nutrients into the soil, cutting water use up to 50%. And the good thing is that the government will actually reimburse farmers for putting carbon into the ground. And we're working with someone to be able to bring that information. And it'll also, when you use biochar, to give you a higher yield on your crops too as well, and it'll help you cut back on fertilizer too, up to 50%, because we understand that that's a big thing that's hurting farmers right now is fertilizer. And it'll also help with drainage on your farm too as well, so you won't when it rains, it won't puddle up. And it's a lot of other benefits too as well. So if anybody's interested in learning more about biochar, feel free to contact me, and we're working with a biochar company to be able to bring biochar here to South Carolina, because I actually just got off of the phone today with Biochar Initiative. They're based in Oregon, and they said that out there biochar is a farmer's best friend because it helps you cut back on so much. So if anybody's interested in learning more about biochar, using it on their farm, just let me know.
Thanks, Chaz.
Yeah, let me just chime in quickly on the biochar. Chaz, that was very important what you said, and farmers really need to be educated on the use of biochar, because like any other thing, the biggest risk is not knowing the application rate, because it's been a new practice for regenerative agriculture. So there's a lot of education that's required for the farmers to really get the advantage, the value of using the biochar. So that is really good, and we're doing a lot of that as well.
Great information. Thank you. And so if you want to follow up with Chaz or Florence or Adrian, Just look for that resource list. Marcus, do you want to explain a little bit about terra preta? That's not a term I'm familiar with. If you're available.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Good, how are you?
All right. So yeah, terra preta is pretty much what we were just speaking about with Mr. Williams about the biochar. It's a technique that pretty much developed back in the Amazon times, and it's that dark, rich soil that we all look for with the good rhizomes and stuff in it. So I was just trying to see if anybody had any good farming practices that built up the stability in the soil.
Okay, gotcha. So
Well,
again,
I
lots
could
of
help
people
you.
on this call that can field those those questions in maybe a post Zoom conversation.
Right. And did you say rhizomes? Did you mention rhizomes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking mycorrhizae, the mushroom amendment that is also part of regenerative agriculture, that is gaining traction in some parts of the country. So those are some of the things I could add to help you build your soil and reduce your your fertilizer application too. So I'm wondering if that's what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
with that in combination with biochar, you really double your soil fertility level and your soil organic matter as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I was doing some research around how the mycelium
Yes,
pretty much
that's
helps feed the
mycorrhizae.
roots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just trying to keep it, like you said, it builds up and keeps the carbon levels more standard for your NPK
Correct.
usages and stuff. But thank you.
Yes, and increases your carbon sequestration too, because it helps build massive root system for plants, especially hemp. Already by nature has a very good root system, but with biochar mycorrhizae combination, that makes it even better.
Yes, and do you know anything about like using succulents for the silicia, or how you say it?
Mycorrhizae?
No, also growing like aloe vera succulent.
Do I know how to grow that?
No, using the silica that's grown from the aloe vera to help stabilize the soil as well.
I have not used that. I have not done that in research, but I know that's some people use that also to for soil health, building your soil and increasing your organic matter and also your microbiome in the soil. So I've heard it, but I have not done it personally.
Gotcha. Those are just some things I'm checking out, and I appreciate Jo as well for giving me Jeff Lowenfield's information as well in the chat. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. More questions? Anyone have another question for any one of the speakers or in general? Okay. Jo, jump on.
Hey, how we doing? I just wanted to briefly speak. I've been working. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm also partnered with Chaz, working with the Hemp District to help you guys bring these resources. So if you also, Chaz is a very busy man. If you can't get in touch with him, I'm here as well. Kellyanne has my information. I'll also leave it in the chat. He has a couple good book resources to check out for some farmers that are wanting to really understand how they can take advantage of the amendments and benefits of the soil and to increase that. So if you'd like any other resources on that, I'd be happy to provide those and anything else.
Great. Thank you, Jo. Good to have you on. Any other questions?
Hey, Kelly, I do have one question for you. Do y'all have any partnerships with any of the current grants that are out around hemp?
There are several funding sources that include hemp, that allow for hemp to be, included in the grant proposals. Most of the SARE, Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program grants allow for hemp now. There was recently an FSA grant that was funded by the Commodity Credit Corporation that it's called the Climate Smart Commodities. I understand there was many hemp proposals for that grant. That's now that the federal program is pretty stabilized for hemp, anything under 0.3%. A lot of any agricultural funding programs are going to allow for hemp to be included. So it's just a matter of kind of keeping an eye on what's coming down the pipeline, maybe connecting with some of your like Florence or myself or some other institutional folks who usually have a pretty good finger on what's happening as far as agricultural grants go. I think that would be the best approach. And just periodically rechecking some of the USDA sites. You can go to grants.gov and put in some keywords and see what's coming up. And a lot of times grants will be recurring, so they'll happen every year. So if you missed a deadline for this year, it's likely that those grants will come up again next year, which gives you plenty of time to plan for them, and the deadlines are staggered throughout the year. So if you missed one at the beginning of the year, you might be able to catch one towards the end of the year.
Thank you. Yeah, I had seen where they had one for, I think it was called VAPG, for value added production.
Producer grant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they also had one that was in reference to the carbon sequestering as well. And then I think they have another one that was on the Federal Register. That's deadline is June 16th. And that one is for anyone who does like seeds, and they're looking for the safetiness around us eating them. So they're doing a lot of testing around that and research and development. So I had seen those, but I was just asking if there were any partnerships, maybe with either you or Miss Florence, you guys are currently working on.
Not on the one that you just mentioned, but we are working on the climate smart ag, and we also have some other projects that we're working on, but all centered around hemp, but also regenerative agriculture. And we are looking, we're going to be looking for partners. So if you are interested in, because you don't know if you'll be funded, but if we are funded and we think we'll be funded, we will be looking for partners for education and providing resources as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great. There is a question here in the chat about programs that help smaller producers with capital to get going. And I'm not personally familiar with programs that provide capital, but there are a couple of programs that do offer like cost share, the NRCS, for new growers, or especially growers who are willing to implement some conservation practices into their production systems. NRCS has the EQIP program, EQUIP, and EQIP has a bunch of different cost sharing opportunities. I think they're doing one for irrigation right now. They'll do cost share for hoop houses. So if you're doing some, like if you're constructing some hoop houses, they'll pay you back for part of the cost of that. And then, of course, that SARE program that I mentioned has a producer grant. That was that value-added producer grant that Marcus mentioned. And that is a grant directly to farmers. And I think that's up to $80,000 over a couple of years to offset the costs of, I forget the exact details, but that's available on their website. When I send out that resource list, I'll throw in a couple of links to a few different funding websites too. So hopefully that's helpful. If anybody else has something to throw in there, please be my guest as far as capital for new farmers.
I might add, Kelly, that along with NRCS, USDA in general, through the Farm Service Agency, offers some startup loans. It's very low interest money. And as interest rates go up, that'd be something that gets more important. But they have special incentives for new and beginning farmers, and then also special incentives for minority and military veterans that are available to help people get started with either land or equipment purchases. They do not currently, the guidelines for a hemp farmer are pretty strict about contracts and stuff. So to be specific as a hemp farmer will be a little more difficult with FSA loans, but there are ways to work through land purchases or equipment that can work through that. So that'd be something to check with your local FSA office as well.
Great. Thanks, David. Okay, how about some final questions? Anyone?
And while we're talking about FSA, Kelly, if I might.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only one that seems to be plugging this, and I know I appreciate Will and Department of Ag adding it into the permit agreement, but you are required to register your acres that you plant with the FSA office as a grower, and it might not seem like it matters much, but that's one of the reasons that we're having problems getting general hemp insurance, is because we did not do a good job registering our hemp acres with the federal government when we were planting them. And now that we're not planting as many acres, but other states around us do have an opportunity to get some hemp insurance. So it's important that the government knows that you've planted hemp and where it's planted, and that helps in ways outside of just the South Carolina program, but it helps with the federal program and letting know what's going on and where it's happening, and anything we can get like yield and production can help us down the line as we look to try to get this crop insured and in some way through the crop insurance program. So do take the time to go by your local office and certify with them the acres that you planted this year when you get that done. I think the deadline is July 31st for hemp certification at your office. So appreciate that.
Great. Good reminder.
David, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of that. Yes, I agree with making sure you report to the FSA. That's actually how it ties in to USDA when we do our annual reporting at the end of the year. So it uses the FSA numbers to tie our permit numbers to our producers. So it makes everything flow a lot better whenever we have it. And July 31st is that deadline for FSA reporting.
Thank you, Will. Okay, final questions. Okay, well, if no one has any more questions, I think we could probably wrap up a few minutes early. And one last thought that I do want to leave everybody with is, you know, we've covered a lot of information tonight, and hopefully, you know, please follow up with myself or anyone else that has provided their contact information if you need further information. We're all here to support the hemp farming community in South Carolina and the region. So, you know, working together, I think that, you know, we've got a lot of great opportunities. We've got excellent farmers in the state, and, you know, hemp is becoming a real commodity here. I did want to mention, though, that with, you know, when we talk about things like organic production systems and people are throwing information around about products, I encourage everyone to do extensive research on anything that there is shared with them, because there is a lot of information out there. Some of it's conflicting, and it's important for you so that you don't lose time, valuable time, and especially money on products that you don't need or that are ineffective. So I think it's important to really talk to several people before you make a commitment to anything. And make sure that the product that you're choosing to use is a good quality product. It does what it says. Because I will say specifically about some of the soil amendment products that claim to you can pour it on your soil and it'll grow mycorrhizal fungi for you. And there's not a lot of research that backs that up yet. So the best way to build your soil is to not disturb it and to, give it the things it needs to do what it does best on its own. Provide ground cover, green material, roots, living roots in the soil, and plenty of good water. And a lot of soil will kind of come to a stasis that provides a good support for a lot of plant life. So just wanted to make that point. I don't want to see anybody losing money in their farming operations. We want everyone to succeed. So final thoughts, and then we're going to sign off for the evening. And that's the last thing I'm going to say. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us and appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. Bye.